This podcast is sponsored by BB Mates, a family-run personalised gift company. From sports bottles to team merchandise, BB Mates has you covered. They will happily work with you to create unique designs for your perfect gift, with a wide range of products, all able to be personalised with names, quotes, pictures and much more. Head over to bbmakes.com. That's www.bebemakes.com and use the code KOIS so they know that we sent you. Oh, and of course, come on you Spurs.
Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Spurs News Podcast. I am one of your hosts. I am Sam, my co-host, my partner in crime. Joining us today, it's Stefan.
Hello buddy, how we doing?
Yeah, really good.
Mate,
really
we get to
good.
record a podcast after a good thing.
It is a good Friday. See what I did?
Well done.
Oh, honestly, Easter puns, eh? Okay, everybody, so let's get some admin out of the way first because I've had a lot of emails, a lot of messages come in. Yes, I'm going to apologise now. The show has been ad hoc, unfortunately, for a few weeks. We've gone from technical issue to technical issue to then all of a sudden just being like, yeah, okay, so at the last minute this happened. It's just been a bit of a nightmare. So
I'll take 50% of the blame with school holidays and children and computers not working.
Yeah, and the other 50% is Polynesian Dan, who was like, yeah, I'll step in, I'll do it. And then, like, a half hour before set to record, I said, right, you ready? Oh, yeah, I need to change the time. Ugh. Honestly, these kids today, it's annoying. I don't know how old he is now. He must be, like, pushing 30. He must be.
I hope so.
I mean, I still call him a kid, but he must be pushing 30 now. It's about time you grew up, young man. You're not even married yet. You'll be getting married by now. Hopefully he'll play this in front of his missus and she'll hear that and be like, yeah, put a ring on it.
Why is there no wedding in children? What's going on?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I feel like I've been through the pain. Everyone should. So yeah, it's but anyway, so apologies. It has been a really difficult time. And again, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Typically when stuff like last minute happens, I will still put out a kind of a summary, even if it's just me, like, okay, me slowly going insane, you'll get to hear my voice for 10-15 minutes. Apologies, like, no one was able to jump on or whatever, and people in the past have all kind of like said, hey, you know, if you are ever stuck, drop me a message, I'll help, which is really kind. But typically it happened at the last minute. Like, I'll create a window and it's like 10 minutes before, oh yeah, by the way, one of my kids has just vomited on me head to toe. I can't be there.
And people don't realise the amount of backstage stuff that you have to do to get these podcasts to work. Just drop me a call, I'll talk with you. Doesn't always cover it.
No, exactly. It's a bit like kind of like I've set this sort of window and do all this, but I will say, and I'll be completely honest with everyone, and I hope everyone understands this, I've actually found it a little bit difficult as well, because I try and bring a level of kind of like, okay, let's be open to this, let's be kind of positive, let's be kind of, things might be a bit dark, but hey, there's some grass shoots here, there's some things we can be positive about. And the last few weeks I have really struggled, and not just the kind of like, oh, it's been bad before and stuff like that. I mean, like, really struggled to find it. And I think it's because I got quite invested in Angeball. I got really invested in this kind of like, I'm so fed up of watching counter-attacking defensive football. I love the idea of Angeball completely. And I got very invested in it, and I felt in the first season there were real positives, but then you could see real problems with it. But in my mind it was like, yeah, but you've got a lot of players there who for years have just been playing this counter-attack kind of... Like, Højbjerg is a decent Premier League player, but did not suit Angeball at all. But he would still come on like 10 minutes, a bit of experience and do a job. But players like that, there were a lot of players in that squad. So to my mind, it was kind of like, well, we've got fifth in our first season, but there were like kind of big drop-offs in games. But I didn't see it as a problem with the overall coaching and what we were doing, it was kind of like, okay, this has to be evolution. We have to keep moving. And when the start of the summer window happened with players being released, and I was like, wow, like we are really shifting here. We are really kind of going to go for it. I don't think I quite realised until the season was going and the results started going badly how bad a summer it was and why it was bad until it kind of just hit me. I think I read somewhere about the average age of the team.
Yeah.
And it kind of suddenly hit me that all of the experienced pros had gone, whether they fit Angelo or not, which made sense, like they needed to move. But when we went about replacing them, we didn't. We brought in teenagers. And like, so you think about Bergvall came from, and again, this is going to sound really disparaging, so I hope people don't take it in the way it's meant. Bergvall came from a lesser league.
Yep.
You know, he wasn't playing in one of Europe's top leagues. So there was no way on day one he was going to be, you know, a Premier League level player. I mean, watch him now because of the exposure he's got, and it's like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, we lost Højbjerg and brought in Bergvall. We lost Oliver Skip and brought in Archie Gray.
Yeah.
Now, those two players have actually turned out to be two of our best players this season.
And have got ceilings for me higher than the two you mentioned before. As much as that hurts me to say about Skip, I do think that Bergvall can be a world-class player. You look at him, I think the same for Gray. So, bringing them in, I have got no problem with at all. Like, you look at those signings and they are excellent signings for the club. But for Ange and ambitions this season, were they good signings? And I don't think you can say yes.
No, you're right. I saw a post someone put up about how Tottenham in 3 years' time is going to be one of the absolute powerhouses with the signings they've made.
Potentially,
The problem is we have to survive the next 3 years to get there.
And keep them together.
Yeah, fair point.
You know, and keep them together because I saw a very funny. The tweet wasn't funny, but the replies were funny. So I'm going to put it to you and see if you can guess the reply. Okay, someone tweeted on Spurs Twitter last night, Lucas Bergvall, 19. Wow, imagine what he'll be in 5 years.
Wearing a Man City or Real Madrid shirt.
Well, what do you think was no right? Okay. That was in the replies, but what do you think was the most reply? And it is just so... Tottenham fans, I think, the first language, where no matter where you are in the world, is sarcasm. So what do you think was the most reply? The most replied thing?
Oh. So
Lucas Bergvall, 19. What will he be in 5 years? The top answer?
Relegated.
24.
24. Yeah.
I saw the person retweet it this morning, like, all right, you sarky bastards. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right, but you know what I meant. But yeah, so I mean, you look at that and you look at those players and you're kind of like, I mean, Odegaard as well. I mean, he has had a torrid season because of injury, but again, that's a teenager. Mattis Tau came in. He's a teenager. I mean, those two, I think, are both 19.
They're like best mates, I didn't realise as well.
Yeah, from the French under-21 setup. But Odegaard came from Burnley. He'd been in the Premier League and done quite well, but so it dropped down to the Championship, but in a relegated side. Now, again, and I'm not disparaging about that, there are good players at clubs that get relegated. Like, there are, and I mean, you can...
Tyler Dibbling this season's going to be a prime example.
Well, potentially, yeah. I mean, since his injury, I'd not really seen a lot of him other than our game against them, and he did nothing. So, I don't know. But anyway, when they're talking about 60 million for him, I'd want more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if it was 20 million, I'd say, yeah, absolutely. But 60, I'm expecting the kid to be looking like a young Wayne Rooney, you know? I'm expecting something a little bit more. So... What I mean is like over the course of the season, I just got drained, and like up to a few. I mean, our last couple of shows that I've gone out, people have said like, "Oh, it was actually quite surprising to hear you kind of turn on Ange. Really, you're now Ange out." And I think it's because I got to a point where it's like, I realise that it's not worked. Like I look at it and I'm like, we cannot sit where we are in the Premier League. We cannot watch performances like we're watching in the Premier League and say, this is fine, this is good, yay. I will caveat that by saying the thing that's hurt me and the thing that's really kind of, it's going to sound a bit extreme, but I kind of damaged my mental health about the club right this year, is this kind of, I realise, and I hope a lot of fans realise, regardless of your opinion of Ange, you could sub him for any manager in the world. Being given the same set of circumstances, they would all struggle. Yeah. And as more and more information's coming out about stuff that's gone on behind the scenes, so Scott Munn was brought in by Daniel Levy as a kind of replacement to Paratici, but also in a role that was created in the club to basically be the football director. So anything on the football operations side, it would be him. It was sold to us as fans as a kind of thing that a lot of us had wanted for a long time, which is Daniel Levy, therefore going, right, here is your budget. You run the football side. I am going to work on all the stuff I'm good at, like the hotel thing I'm working on, the property projects. I will grow the brand. You need me, I'm next door. You know, you need me to talk to someone that I know, like contacts in the game, whatever, I'm right here. But my focus is going to be there. Your focus is going to be there. It appears to a point that happened where Scott Munn was given free rein to make changes. Now, I'm going to tell you the two big changes he made once he arrived, and then you can react to it, okay?
Yep.
Scott Munn focused on and made two big changes, which were to the sports science and the medical department at the club for this season.
And Romero went all the way to Argentina to get a problem fixed, and Richarlison went to Brazil to get his problem fixed.
Yeah, and in an interview the other day, Mickey van der Ven basically hinted that he hired a physio away from the club to help him with his injuries. It is, yeah. There is the club. So I've been talking a lot about. It's strange, like, how has Ange lasted longer than all of these managers in the past? When Daniel Levy is known as a guy who's like, oh, results are bad, you're fired. Like, he fires, like, he's fired managers for finishing 4th, 5th, 6th. Like, oh yeah, but it wasn't good enough for us, you're gone.
He fired Jose the week before a final.
Exactly, which I'm telling you now was a financial decision.
100%.
But they'll deny it till they're blue in the face. But Jose's hinted at it, but I think he's sort of probably a little bit worried about being sued if he says it outright. One day, Jose Mourinho is going to write a book and like a full version of everything, and it will be fascinating, because I think when he reaches that point where he's like, okay, I've actually retired from football now, let's throw all you motherfuckers under the bus. And he'll be an interesting read, that. Of course, it'd be Jose-fied, which you'll always have to take into account, but
that Spurs chapter will be incredible.
Yeah, like him, love him, hate him, whatever. He's an interesting character in football. And for a very brief time, he was an interesting character at our club. But yeah, so my point is, what I'm trying to make is, and saying it is, like, it is kind of been difficult to find these positives. Now, this podcast I'm going to do in two halves. I'm going to start it by going over these kind of negative things and the things I want to talk about, but then we're going to talk about that Europa League, and, you know, kind of focus on that to finish, because that's where the positives really are. So the thing I want to talk to you about, which is kind of insane, is why do you think, because I've got a theory, and I think it's been backed up now by last night especially, why do you think that Ange has managed to last longer than these other managers have?
My initial thought was the fact that all the fans turned on Levy. The results then didn't improve, so the fans stopped turning on Levy, turned on Ange, and Levy went, oh, thank Christ for that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, do you think we're cynical for thinking that? Because I feel like I always sort of, with myself, I'm kind of like, that's just me being cynical. but this club has made me cynical because too many times I've had these kind of thoughts and it's been true, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put anything past that man at the top anymore.
No.
The other reason, I think a little bit, is because the players are still backing him.
Yes.
And
that's,
I think that has a massive influence as well. Like when you've got people like Romero who basically came out and said, lose Ange, lose me.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Kulusevski has said in interviews that the manager plays the way we want to play. Van der Ven did an interview a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And said, we are all behind the gaffer. He plays the style of football we want to play.
Yeah, I will say he was doing that interview sat next to him, so it would have been probably the best press conference in the world if they come. What do you think? Well, to be honest with you, we all hate the cunt. Yeah, he's an Aussie. Don't really know what he's doing.
You guys think we threw that game last season against Man City? Wait till tonight, lads.
Yeah. I mean, we all know he's sacked in the morning if we lose. So guess what's gonna happen? Yeah. I mean, it would have been probably one of those greatest football moments ever. But
I'm not a betting man, but I would put a bet on an own goal in the 89th minute.
Yeah. You'll watch me skin Vicario. It's going to be awesome. Vicario is another one. He's been very vocal in his support, and also last night there were several times you saw him run to Ange, which was kind of insane.
Yep.
Vicario is kind of insane, but I love him, by the way. Like, he makes mistakes in games, and people go in on him, and I'm in the background just like, oh, yeah, but I love him, so leave him alone.
Yeah.
He's a lunatic, but he's my lunatic. But yeah, I think that what you've just said then, I mean, I up until last night was 100% in that cynical view of this is purely the hierarchy at Tottenham saving themselves.
Yep.
Like, all of the focus, all of the negativity has focused in on Ange, and they are able to just kind of sit back and let that happen and basically hanging the poor git out to dry. However, both beautifully and frustratingly, I think our best performance of the entire season was last night. And if I was to say our best two performances were in the first leg and the second leg against Frankfurt, I don't think I'd be far wrong.
No, you probably wouldn't.
But sandwiched between those games
was the absolute dog shit fest that was Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Exactly. So when you look at that, I watched that Wolves game and I was like, they've stopped playing for him. Like, they've stopped playing. They all know he's getting fired no matter what. I think from the press interviews they've given, they all still like him, but they've just reached the point that they know the club's going to fire him, so they've stopped. This is hell. So I went into that game, Frankfurt, just fully expecting it to be the same sort of performance, same apathetic, lazy, really, I'd say, where they're just like miss-hitting passes, no one really running or tracking.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was the exact opposite. It was on it. Now, don't get me wrong, of course there were mistakes in the game. There were nerves. Different points of the game, you could really see nerves kicking in with the players. But they... I mean, here's a stat. Frankfurt, it had been over a year, calendar year, since they failed to score at home.
Yeah, they were unbeaten at home in European competitions this season.
Yep. It was a great win. People are like, oh, Frankfurt didn't play well. We didn't let them play well. We played very well over both legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, their manager, I mean, he had a few gripes about the referee. I have a few gripes about the referee, but their manager said, oh, I think on reflection, Tottenham were better over the two legs. And he was right, which shocked everyone, including me. But my point is, if they had down tools, which is the thing that is always the death knell, it is always the Pochettino-Brighton game, where the Tottenham players didn't, like, Lloris basically just let the ball go in. Like, just like, oh, so who cares?
Yeah.
Like, it just, the whole side that was like, oh, wow, it's done. For me, just to circle that for a moment, that was a moment where the club had a choice to make in that moment of like, okay, do we back the guy who's given us our best few season years and just basically say, right, you lot, that's unacceptable, you're out the frigging door, or do we fire the manager and hope that this good squad we've got can win stuff with a different manager? We know the choice Levy made. We saw it on the Amazon documentary where he said, "Oh, time will tell if I was right." Well, you were fucking
wrong,
Daniel.
I can tell you now. I have waited.
Just so you're aware, from the future, I'm a time traveller, and yes, please, when you wake up from the punch I just gave you, you were wrong. But when you go like to this with Ange, and it's like that Wolves performance, you're like, oh well, that was it. That's done. And I even saw people like, you know what, if we've got any chance at all on Thursday, you got to fire him and just let like Matt Wells and Mason or someone have a go and just hope it lifts the players enough.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, yeah, I get it. Like, I understand that thinking.
I did, honestly. I listened to the Wolves game. I was driving back from a family trip. And I was driving to my auntie's house, she's a Tottenham fan and her husband's a Crystal Palace fan. There we go. We were driving back up and the match finished just before I got to their house.
Yeah.
And like my aunt's opened the door as I've opened the car door. She's opened the house door. She's just gone, we don't talk about it. I was like, you were watching or listening. Okay, yeah.
Yes, no, we don't. Yeah.
I was like, we've walked into the house and she was like, he's going to get fired tomorrow, isn't he? And I was like, I don't know if he's going to survive tonight. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if before I get home, there's a news bulletin that Ange has been fired. Yeah. Like, that was awful.
It was awful, and it was that bad that it felt like the end of the road, and it felt like there was no way this squad of players could perform any better than that. And then we do have that performance. So focus, like I said, I want to just focus on this negative and get this negative out of the way first. So the Premier League season this year, we are currently 15th. It's unacceptable. Like, that is not good for this football club. When you look at the players at the club, etc., it is just, no, that's not okay. There is a caveat, and I will say it, and I've said it earlier in the season, that for a large chunk of the season, for a big chunk of the season, we were decimated by injuries. There has been a debate in amongst the fans for a long time of like, that is Ange's fault. It's his system, his training, and all of this stuff. The players themselves has constantly said, no, it's not, that's bollocks. What is interesting again is every Tottenham tenure, and we as fans, we've seen 16 managers in 20 seasons. We as fans know what it is when it's coming to an end because we are used to it. We see the press stories. Oh, Tottenham players are becoming frustrated by the heavy training. Tottenham players are becoming frustrated by the light training. You know, the leaks from the players to the agents to the press is... We know the pattern. We know what's coming.
It was like the players are disillusioned by dinosaur tactics in training or something. Wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It all comes out and it's all signed by Donna Cullen. I mean, sorry. Allegedly. And I'm saying allegedly. Yeah. But it all comes out from the club and it comes from the players and it is everywhere. About 6 or 8 weeks ago, one journalist ran a story similar to that and it got ripped apart by the players. Do you remember?
Yeah. Pedro Porro came out.
Yeah,
someone else came out.
Decky, Matters and Pedro Porro all went to the press immediately with other journalists and called it bollocks.
Yeah.
That has never happened. Like, I have never seen that, ever. Like, that is just something where you think to yourself, okay, maybe it is genuine. Maybe they do really back him and they do genuinely feel behind the scenes stuff has happened that perhaps none of the fans are aware of, that they know as players that are there every day isn't on Ange. And now we're learning that Scott Munn made all these changes. It is infinitely possible that behind the scenes, all the players are like, the facilities, like, this has gone to crap, this is a problem, it hasn't worked, but none of that's on him.
Yeah.
Like they will, like any work environment you're at, there could be a manager or a supervisor who everyone knows is crap. And when you arrive on shift and it's like, oh, so-and-so's in charge, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, really? But that's not like the other manager's fault.
Yeah.
You know that. And it's just kind of interesting to me that we haven't had that en masse throwing him under the bus, save ourselves kind of situation, which does suggest this situation is unique and is different, is weird. But again, like I said, the position in the league isn't acceptable.
No.
And you can argue definitely, and I think I've reached the point myself where Ange's inability to adapt with when players are missing, to use the players he's got and try and get the best out of the players he's got available, has cost us points this season.
Yep.
Like, it's win or lose with Ange. I get that. That's Ange. Well, that's what he wants to do. But you look at the table, and you turn 5... I think someone said, like, you turn 5 losses to draws, and keep in mind we lost a lot of games this season just by 1 goal.
Yep.
And they're like, you turn those from you just 5, and you turn, I think it was just 2 draws to 2 wins again. Like that. We're actually in, I think we're 8th. Like, it is a margin which is massive in the table right now, but actually if you look at the games, it's 1 goal margins in so much.
I think, all you need to do is look at how we performed against those teams that are in the bottom 3.
Oh, it's appalling.
Minus Southampton, who, we actually did the double and lost both their managers, so sorry about that.
Sorry.
But the other
or if their fans didn't like the managers, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly that as well. Crystal Palace hadn't won a game all season, beat us. Ipswich hadn't won a game all season, beat us. Leicester City were struggling like crazy.
Oh, mate, this stat. Let me do this. Leicester City had lost 7 games in a row. And in those 7 games had scored 1 goal. They then beat us 2-1. Right? Lost 7 games in a row, scoring once, scored twice against us in 1 game and won the game. After that, they lost 8 games in a row without scoring.
Yep.
That is appalling.
That
right there. That is absolutely sure. And that is where that kind of thing, and the more and more of that I saw, the more I was like, yeah, Ange has to go. Because clearly he is failing to motivate the team. The players he's got, because that is a mental thing. There is no way the team we fielded against Leicester that day should have lost that game.
It's a mental thing on so many different levels of the word.
Exactly, yeah. But one of the things I want to talk about a little bit is kind of like Tottenham's worst ever Premier League season. Because when me and Matt used to do the show especially, we would often talk about people complaining about like where we are right now. And we'd be like maybe 8th, but battling the top 4. And me and Matt would just be like, look, you guys don't know how good this is. like we went to school and got abuse in the 90s when we were fighting relegation.
Yeah.
Like you guys have got to do this. So I think now, and I said this to Polynesian Dan the other day in our chat, you now have an experience of what we went through in the Premier League era. Because our worst ever finish in the Premier League was 15th.
Ooh,
which is where we're sat now.
Yeah.
But I will say a caveat to this is that was in 1993-94. That's how long ago it was. But there were also 22 teams in the Premier League then, not 20. So when you say we finished 15th then, it's not as close to the relegation zone as we are finishing 15th now.
Yeah.
1993-94 that was. So that was the second ever season of the Premier League. In the first ever season we finished 8th. In the second ever season we finished 15th. And then, we're up and down like a yo-yo.
It's quite funny because I used to watch a lot of those. Remember the football years on Sky
Premier
Sports?
League years.
Premier League years,
yeah.
that's it, on Sky Sports. I used to love watching those because, in all honesty, my kind of memory of football probably starts around 2006.
Okay.
Much before that, I remember bits and pieces. Like, I remember a bit of Euro 2004.
I just want to say to everyone listening who felt the same pain I did when he said that, I'm with you. Like, that hurt me.
Like, my very first footballing memory was the 98 World Cup.
Yeah.
The 2002 World Cup, I remember bits and pieces of that as well.
Yeah.
But actually, Tottenham itself, like, I was a fan as a kid, but, you know, I always got a shirt, so therefore that's my team.
Yeah.
It was probably around between 2004 2006 is probably where I really took Tottenham to heart and stuff.
Well, it's when you were old enough really to kind of understand what was going on.
Yeah, exactly. So I
like,
watched these Premiership years, and it's like, 1996 season. I'm watching it, and I'm like, the heck are we doing down there in the league?
Oh, mate.
Why did we just get beaten by Bolton? What is going on?
So, do you know how many games we've lost this season?
Is it 17, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
In the league, yeah.
So, our worst ever amount of losses in the league was 1993-94 with 19, which we actually equalled in 03-04 with 19 league defeats, where we finished 14th in the league that season.
Oof.
So our worst ever Premier League losses is 19. We are on course, if you look at the fixtures we've got remaining, to do worse than that. Like literally, we've got Newcastle, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest.
So the next game is Monday, Forest at home, and then we play Liverpool, and then it's West Ham away. Sorry, Palace at home, Villa away, and Brighton at home.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
So
in the Premier League this season, there is no game I look at and think we got that. Because if you look at our record, it's appalling.
Jesus Christ.
So we conceivably could lose every one of those games. And therefore, this would then be our worst ever Premier League season.
Like, I'm looking at these and I'm like, we might draw at West Ham, Palace and Brighton, maybe get draws. Well, but I'm not looking at any of them going, that's a win.
No, there's no way to predict it at all. So the point is like we as a fan base have kind of looked back on things and kind of, I guess we've looked at stuff with a view of, this has been a struggle. But when do you think we last finished, or how long ago, what season do you think we last finished outside of the top 8?
Outside the top 8?
Yeah.
Oh wait, we weren't in Europe for Angie's first season.
We finished 8th.
We finished 8th that season.
Yeah.
Blimey, I can't think. So we were in Europe pretty much every season under Poch.
I'll tell you because it's painful.
Go on.
16 years ago.
16
years ago.
Wow.
Since we finished, right, so that was 2007 and 8, we finished 11th. Prior to that, we'd finished 5th 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Right? And then, so after that 11th place finish, we finished 8th, 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 6th, 5th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th, 4th, 8th, 5th, and then we've got this season. That is why, when you look at that, those many years, my daughter is 16.
Yep.
So in her entire life, we have never finished outside of the top 8. Basically. And so for her and everyone like her who've been to school that entire time, like for me, in the 90s, I look back at that and it was like, I was at school then, 8th, 15th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 14th. That was my school years. For her, it's been 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th. You know, she has never known. So teenagers who are like obviously football fanatics, if you like, for Tottenham fans, and also are the ones who are online a lot, have never known anything like this and now have, unfortunately for you all.
They'd almost think we were a good team if you only supported us for 16 years.
My point is we have been a good team.
Yeah.
But we have been gaslit as a fan base to think that without a trophy it means we're crap.
Yeah.
So for all those 15 odd years, we have been a good side. We've been a consistent Premier League team in the top part of the table, fighting, competing, but because we've not won a trophy, everyone tells us we're shit.
Yep.
That's not true. This season in the Premier League, we've been shit. And that is the difference. This is the thing I tried to say in the past, but no one could, unless you lived through it, no one could really cotton on to it because you didn't realise what the comparison was. This is a shit season. Finishing 5th, just missing out on the Champions League, is not a shit season.
No.
Alright, so this is where perspective is so key. But like I said, my daughter's entire life has been with us being pretty good. But the whole you've not won a trophy thing has been born out of a nastiness at our club. Because you look at Newcastle won the League Cup this year. I think it had been 70 years since they'd last won a trophy.
Yep.
Where was the abuse aimed at Newcastle that has been aimed at Tottenham, who have been up and down, relegated, promoted? Where was the abuse aimed at them? Didn't exist.
Nope.
And there's lots of other clubs. Everton last won a trophy in 94, 95. They're fighting relegation.
Yep.
Why don't I hear trophy banter? Why aren't Pizza Hut tweeting about them not having a trophy? Why is it that on Bullseye, when they're talking about a trophy, they're saying, "Oh, something Tottenham have never won"?
Yep.
Why is it that we get that and no one else does? For whatever reason, and I've got my theories, but whatever reason it is, like I said, it's like a gaslighting thing that all of the fan base have felt we're underachieving for the last however many years. This is crap. We've not won a trophy. No. This season is crap and bad
for future
on
reference,
all levels.
This season.
Yeah. And the club are going to have to make some serious changes to ensure it's a one-off. Because right now, my fear is actually this could take a long time to fix.
This could be a couple of seasons, if not more.
Yeah, exactly. But look, the positive. The massive positive right now is that this team did perform in the Europa League. And they performed very, very well. And we, over 2 legs, did beat Frankfurt, and we have made it into the Europa League semi-finals where we will play Bodo Glimt. Do not do the accent. We will play Bodo Glimt in the semi-final, you know. Yes, Polynesian Dan, Laura, there, Ryan. They are currently listening to this.
We play a good football. Do you mean that one? No. I had to do it. Ryan, Dan, and Laura would have been very disappointed if I didn't.
Shocking. So, we are facing a Norwegian team in the semi-finals. Everyone is going to get cocky and arrogant about this. They need to not.
They just knocked out Lazio, who are a very good team.
There are 2 reasons for this. One, Ange Postecoglou, with his Celtic team that were flying, playing full Ange ball, was knocked out of Europe by Bodo Glimt over 2 legs. So the last time he took a team to Europe, which was with Celtic, they lost to Bodo Glimt. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, we have been largely, for an entire season, bar maybe 5 games in total, shit.
Yeah.
We have no God-given right at all to think, we'll beat them, to anybody. So anybody thinking, I'm going to Bilbao, anyone thinking, we've got this is nailed, shut the fuck up right now.
We've just looked at the Premier League table where we've got West Ham, Crystal Palace and Brighton to play and gone, I'm not sure where we see it win. We have no right to go, we've beaten them, we're in the final.
Not at all. Bodo Glimt can make history. Bodo Glimt, their town, of this football club town, has a smaller population than our stadium has maximum attendance.
Wow.
44,000 people live there. we, on every single metric as a club, are bigger, but as a team, they know their stadium, their conditions, and there isn't a side in Europe that likes going there. I have a brother who lives in Norway who described it as literally the Arctic Circle, and Tottenham will struggle there. They will. Every club has. Lazio went there and got turned over 2-0, I think it was. And convincingly, like, they struggled there. We play the home leg on the 1st of May first, and the second leg is the 8th of May at Bodø Glimt. For me, all the preparation, everything has to be, we need to go to Bodø Glimt with a lead. Like, you need to perform in both games. There is no, yay, we've won 5-0, therefore we can just send the youth team in Europe. No. You are going to need to be at it 100% in both games. But unlike with Frankfurt, where, again, I went to that thinking, okay, it's a one-off game. I know it's at their stadium, but it's a one-off game. We drew 1-1. I'm saying this, if you go there without a lead, I genuinely think we're going to struggle more than we did go into Frankfurt.
Well, I'm just having a quick look now. They beat Olympiacos 3-0 at home.
Yep.
They beat Lazio 2-0 at home. They beat FC Twente 5-2.
Yeah, they are no mugs. At home, they'll beat anybody, and I mean this, they will. They are also looking to make history. Like, Norwegian side of that size getting to the final of the Europa League is unheard of. It's just, for them, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and unfortunately, I fear the mentality of our players who have failed to turn up against Ipswich, Leicester, because in their brains they think, oh, we got this. They're small clubs. We're better than them. We're bigger than them. If we do that against them, we're not going to go through. And this is an incredible opportunity to make a final. Like it is. Like, there is no doubt about it. Of the 3 teams that are there, this is the one you would choose. But that doesn't make it easy. And so, for as well as we played against Frankfurt, like, I'm saying this now, if we play the same way, I am confident we'll go through.
Yeah.
My fear is we won't, because the players and the fans even will have an attitude of, we got this, where are we staying in Bilbao? And that worries me. Like, for all the positive of where we are with this, that concerns me.
The players need to turn up. I mean, they lost 3-2 to Man United away. So, like, it's not even like they're going to be a rollover at our stadium, because they're not.
No, not at all, no.
This is a very challenging team. I have a little concerns with it, like you say, about the mentality of, if the players turn up like they did against Ipswich or against the Palaces or the Leicesters, we could get turned over in both legs.
Yep.
And all of a sudden we're looking at each other going, wow, that was our best chance in a long time of European success.
Yep. Yeah.
And we blew it because we thought we'd just turn up and play football and win.
Yeah. It will haunt us. Like, this has, like, losing to Frankfurt would have been upsetting because we lose and we went out, but they are a very good side, 3rd in the German division, fantastic European pedigree. I think they won the Europa League
a couple of seasons ago.
Like 2-3 years ago. So they are a side that if you went out to, upsetting, annoying, okay, they're a good European side. And again, I'm kind of doing this now where it's like, we lose in this semi-final where we've got this amazing opportunity. If we lose, but they are great and we play well, but they just win the game, I can take that. I know that sounds really stupid, but it's like, they were brilliant, fair play to them. If we do this laid back, we'll just knock it round, we're the better side, and then we lose, that is going to hurt. That is going to haunt me. That is the end of Ange without any sort of shadow of doubt. I mean, I'm fairly confident, even if he wins it, we're not going to see him next season, but my point is, there'd be no escape for anyone there. Like, the players, everyone would just deserve all the worst that they're going to get, because They need to focus. Like, if I could walk into the dressing room and have one conversation with them, it would be, please, please, please do not allow yourselves to think you've won this game. Like, it is so huge and such a massive opportunity for all of you. Like, just please
write
don't.
your names in history for the right reasons here, people. Come on.
Exactly. When it's going to be our worst ever Premier League season, you will be remembered as the worst ever Premier League Tottenham side. Or no one's going to give a fuck about where we finished because we won the Europa League.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. If we win the Europa League in 10 years' time, that squad will be remembered and idolised for winning the European trophy. And is the best manager that we've had in God knows how long because he won a European trophy.
Yeah.
He left the end of that season. Yeah, well, the league wasn't great, but
it doesn't matter. He won.
I can tell you, majority of the players that played in that 2008 final. I don't know where we finished in the league.
Well, I watched the same manager get us relegated. Well, I didn't watch, but the same manager got us relegated in the 70s, then went on to win trophies with us. No one remembers the relegation.
Yeah.
Or it happened, but no one gives a shit.
Exactly that. Like, we won the League Cup, and I couldn't tell you anything about that league season.
No.
But I can tell you
we
that
don't care.
Alan Hutton played, and that sort of thing.
No. In more recent times, your third team, West Ham, won the Conference League. Not one of them cares about the league that season. Not one of them cares about anything other than that night, that memory.
Yeah.
Speaking of other clubs that you love, Manchester United made it to the semi-final where they were playing Athletic Bilbao. Now, Bilbao is the host city for the final, so it's at their stadium, and they've made it to the semi-finals.
And can I just say, whilst you've mentioned them, now I'm not getting the trouble for mentioning them, okay? If you load up BBC Sports on their app this morning, Story 1, More Than a Miracle, How Man United Won in Remarkable Extra Time. Story 2 is 3 Games from Glory. Man United begin to show Never Say Die attitude, or DNA. Story number 3, Maguire scores last minute winner as Man United beat Lyon in 9-goal classic. The next story is Amorim inspired by the 1999 for comeback. And then the next story is You're going to have to put up with me a bit longer, which is the Tottenham story. And I'm like, wait a minute.
So you're happy because you got to read so much about your bloody Man United.
I'm like,
I get it.
why is it that there's that many stories about the Man United game and stuff, and yet what do Tottenham get? A quote from Ange about you're going to have to put up with me a bit longer. I'm like, hold up, there's 2 English teams here in a semi-final.
Yeah, the lead reporter for BBC Sports, an Arsenal fan now, by the way.
Well, that makes a lot more sense.
He used to be at the Daily Mail, but BBC Sport, but anyway, so to wrap this up, what I want to sort of talk about is this mad scenario where if we are able to beat Glimt, right? If we are able to do that, I want Bilbao in the final more than I can put into words. Now, logically, that sounds mental when this season we've played Man United 3 times and beaten them 3 times. But I'm telling you, and to anyone right now, I have supported this football club long enough to know that if we make the final and we play Manchester United, we will lose.
Yeah, it's like the Champions League final when we played Liverpool. I would have played any other team apart from an English team in that final.
I am so confident of that if we make the final against Manchester United, I don't even think I'd want to watch. Like, I am so... I know. I think Christian Eriksen had scored a winner. Like, I can see it in my brain. And we've beaten them 3 times. We've beaten them well 3 times. Like, it just... No way do we beat them for a 4th time. It's just impossible. We know that won't happen. Yep. Whereas I would rather play Bilbao in Bilbao, like, at their ground. I would rather that than face Manchester United in the final. But that is a future problem. Right now, Glimt are a very, very good side. They did have one of their better players sent off, which means that he won't be available for the first leg. I don't know if he's back for the second, but he won't be available for the first leg anyway. So that helps.
Always take chances. Yeah.
But it has to be the focus. I would painfully take more Wolves-style defeats if it meant we won the Europa League. Like, it sounds insane. I want us to play well in every game. I want us to win every game. But to win the Europa League this season, to win a trophy, to get that... And also, by the way, and I'm going to say this now, and I want everyone to clip this and keep it forever, because if it happens, you'll soon realise I was right. If we win the Europa League, I want everyone to note we'll still get shit. It'd just be, doesn't matter, crappy trophy. Or it'd be, wow, you've won one in how many years? Doesn't matter, you finished 15th.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone will suddenly just... No one will look at it as like, oh, it's a turning point or anything, because they'll just go, oh, yeah, but this. It's about us, and it's about us enjoying something. We have to enjoy it. Don't let other people dictate what we can and cannot enjoy. So, yeah, massive games to come. I'm sort of infused. I am energetic again because that performance was so good.
And the end of the match,
when
you saw the reaction of the players and the managers and the players towards the manager.
Exactly, yeah. It felt like they were all very much still on the same team, which is incredible, really, when you think about the way the season's gone and you look at the press and everything. Also, by the way, QT Romero, who I mentioned before, does his own social media. He doesn't tweet very much in English, but he put something out, and when you hit the translate button, it's obviously a literal translation, but it's basically saying let them talk and say what they want. He's basically, again, just having a pop at the press and everyone who's being negative. He's not subtle, really, QT.
No, it was something about family. It's something about the family do it together, let them talk. So, yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, let the others talk. He also, during the game, won my shithousery award again. I know he's made mistakes against Wolves. I know all this, and I know a few people have got issues with him and stuff. But when he is fit and he's playing, he is such an asset to the team. He is such an asset. And his kind of, I've won World Cup, I've won major tournaments. Oh, I've got a head injury. Oh, the game has to be stopped because it's a head injury. Yep. Oh, I'm just going to lay here for a bit because it's a head injury. Everyone knows it's a head injury. Yeah, I'm just going to lay here for a while.
Yep.
And then absolutely mullered someone. And the whole game had to stop again. And he was like, oh, yeah. I think he turned to the referee and said, sorry, I didn't know where I was, head injury. And the referee was like, yeah, you're getting booked.
Yeah.
He
waved his hands in front of his eyes like it was a bit blurry.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where I was. Yeah, just like, oh, it's only 40 yards out away from our goal and I've just munched him, which is going to run the clock down again. But yeah, no, it's fine. I didn't mean to do it. There is a level of shithousery to that man, which is expert level, and it impressed me a lot. But anyway, let's wrap this here. Let's end it on this positive that it was a fantastic performance. We all should enjoy that before things go to shit again. Yeah. So everyone enjoy it. Have an amazing Easter. This has been a better than good Friday. Yeah, to everyone, enjoy Easter, have a great time. We'll be back real soon.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.